I got no problem going to work every day, 7 days a week even. But I got a major problem with going to that job, that 9 to 5, that 7 to 3, that whatever you got, that you only got because you needed money. I'm not mad at anybody earning a living, but I think you might be mad at yourself for having a job. If you hate jobs, but you love to work, if it's important to you to have your passion and your energy and your personality line up with what you spend your time doing, you're in the right place. My name is Magi Simmons, and this is the No Job Podcast. Welcome back, folks. Welcome back. I want to tell you a little something about my story because I think it's important for you to understand more and more why I'm doing this and who I am, who it is that you're listening to. So I'm a guy that always had talent, and I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just telling you the truth. I always had talent. I always could speak well. I could always communicate. I always knew how to play the game. I always had a great appearance. I always seemed to be a hard worker, but I never really was. And I got to a point in life when I realized that looking good just wasn't enough. So let me just branch off right there in two different directions. First of all, everybody, all you talented people, understand that looking good just isn't enough. You're going to realize that sooner or later. And I also want to talk to those people who know they don't necessarily look good to the stranger's eye. They don't necessarily sound great. And you think the reason you haven't advanced is because you don't. No, the reason that you have not advanced is because you have not yet put in enough work. So some of you are mad because you did put in some work, and I'm telling you that it wasn't enough. But the fact of the matter is, if it was enough work, you would be where you wanted to be right now. So all the work you put in wasn't enough. You need to go back to the drawing board to see whether the fact is that you need to keep pushing or you need to do some research and find out what was so wrong with the work that you did. Some of you think because you don't look good or sound good or have natural talent, that's why you haven't been able to be successful. So I'll tell you, whether you're the person that thinks your talent is going to cause you to blow up spontaneously combust, or you're the person that thinks you don't have a lot of talent so you can't do anything, you're both wrong. But I digress. So I'm going to tell you guys about a time that I made a whole commitment to a half-baked plan, or a big commitment to something that I thought through very little. So when I got married, I was working at a job I had no business working at. And I don't mean just because we hate jobs. I did hate that job, but I mean I had no business getting paid what I got paid. I didn't appreciate it for what it was. Because your job, while it may not be your destiny, can certainly be a tool to help you in life, right? We hate jobs when jobs are forever. We don't hate them at every time. So that job, it wasn't good enough for me. So I quit and decided to try my hand at life insurance sales. And I really believed I was going to succeed in it, guys, because I had succeeded in everything else. I really believed it. I believed it, guys. People told me I was going to be successful. And I thought, yeah, I'm always successful. So this is going to work. And as soon as I realized that I had to do more than I wanted to do, I was utterly demoralized. I didn't know anything about the job before I started it, before I quit the job making good money. I didn't know anything about the opportunity I was getting into. What am I saying to you? Do not run away from what you have right now just because it may not be your destiny, just because it's not your forever job. This is the No Job Podcast, but I keeps it real. I'm never going to tell you to just quit your job without having a realistic and executable plan that you're going to commit to. Don't be like me. I made a whole commitment to a half-baked plan. In that first year when I did life insurance sales, where I had no business, where I'd done no research to see whether this worked for me, I made $50,000 less than I made at my previous job. Now, with $50,000, so guys, I paid $50,000 to do this little experiment. To put it another way, don't be stupid. What are you about to pay? How many tens of thousands of dollars are you about to pay to try something on a whim? You're going to learn about me real quick. I'm not your whimsical fairy dust guy. I want you to have a plan. I want you out of that job. But I don't want you to be broke if you don't have to be. I want you to develop a well thought out plan. I want you to research, and I want to help you. We're going to bring on people that have done this. We're going to bring on people that used to have jobs and now don't, that now have businesses. We're going to bring on people who feel just like you. We're going to bring on people who feel like caged animals at their cubicle, like I did. We're going to figure out how to do this the right way. How to respect the fact that you're a father and a husband right now, so you can't take stupid risks, but you can take calculated ones. We're going to respect the fact that your wife is pregnant and you want to build a future for this child. We're going to respect the fact that you've got to pay the rent. We're going to respect the fact that you moved out of your parents' house and you've established some independence and you don't want to go back. That's fine. I just want you to know I'm not selling a dream. I'm not selling a dream here. My intention is to teach you. My intention is to learn alongside you and figure out how this stuff is done in real life. I know your job sucks, but please do not make a whole commitment to a half-baked plan. This is the No Job Podcast. Do you guys know Ninja? Have you heard of Ninja? Ninja is a video game streamer. That's what he does for a living. And in 2018, he made $10 million doing it. That's right, he made $10 million streaming videos of himself playing games. And I heard two grown men recently arguing about whether Ninja is a professional athlete, whether video game streamers are a professional athlete, because that industry is growing. So they're talking about, yeah, it requires dexterity and hand-eye coordination, but it's not athleticism. The next guy's saying, yeah, but those things are core to athleticism. You know, Michael Jordan, everybody, any athlete you ever heard of had extraordinary hand-eye coordination and dexterity, and this is doing the same thing just in a different way. And all I could think was, who cares? Who cares whether Ninja is a professional athlete or not? He's a man who made $10 million in a year. That's what he is. I don't know if he's an athlete. He's a multimillionaire. And he became a multimillionaire doing something that was fun for him. I think too many of us look at somebody like Ninja, right? Somebody who does something that we think is simple and is making a killing doing it and we hate, instead of being inspired. Why are we opening up a conversation about whether he's a pro athlete? Why are we doing that? I think we're doing that in order to disqualify him and disqualify his success. Because all we care about is what he's not, instead of thinking about what parts of what he is we can emulate so that we can succeed, so that we can perhaps turn doing what we want to do into our business. And yeah, the truth is, most of us are not going to make $10 million a year doing anything. But I got news for you. I don't have to make $10 million a year doing anything. All I have to do is being able to support my family. If I can do that, I'm happy. I'm not telling you to reach for the moon. I'm not telling you to not reach for the moon. Do what you want to. Reach for what makes you happy, but make sure you're not hating. Because when I have to ask the question, who cares? When I dig a little deeper, I usually find that the root is hate. The root is jealousy. The root is envy. And if you're somebody that's on this journey with us, if you're one of the people who's on the road to having no job, or who say you are, you can never hate on a man or a woman that does not have a job again. Don't hate on what you want to be. How you going to hate on the jobless? You're supposed to admire them. We're supposed to respect them. We're supposed to venerate them and emulate them and try to learn from them. So who cares? Who cares whether Ninja is a pro athlete? He is a man who made $10 million in 1 year. This is the No Job Podcast. The gift of the Magi. No, it's not the story you're thinking about. We're not talking about the three wise men. It's a different story by the same name, written by a guy named O. Henry. Very short story. Very big point. So a husband and wife are very poor. They have almost no money, and it's Christmas time, and they care about each other, and they want to buy each other gifts badly, but they just don't have cash. They're cash strapped, right? So what the wife does is she goes to her hairdresser, and she has them cut off her long, luxurious hair so she can get some money in order to buy a chain for her husband's pocket watch. It's a very nice chain. She had beautiful hair. She got the money. She went and bought the pocket watch chain. She comes home to give it to her husband, only to find out that he sold his pocket watch. He pawned it in order to buy for her a set of beautiful ornamental combs. She gave up her hair. His gift was for her hair. He gave up his watch. Her gift was for his watch. What makes me sad about this story isn't just the irony, it's the missed opportunity. It is the missed opportunity, and it reminds me of our situation as people who don't want to have jobs, because the fact is, if you want to live and earn a living without a job, you have to get real good at serving the market yourself, because all a job is your role in helping somebody else serve the market. So if you want to cut out the middleman and you want to serve the market your way, you have to really get good at understanding what the market needs. You have to get really good at communicating. And the husband and wife loved each other. They cared about each other. They were willing to sacrifice with each other. But one thing they did not do in this story is communicate with each other. And I'm trying to save you guys from cutting off your arm for the market and then later finding out that's not what the market wanted in the first place. It's important to do research and find out if what you want to do is wanted by anyone else. Because if you're the only one who wants it, then it needs to be a hobby. I'm not saying stop doing it, but I'm saying treat it like what it is. It's a hobby, a pastime for your enjoyment. But don't bet the house on you being able to make a living doing it. Explore the market. See what it accepts, see what it wants, see what it responds to. And yeah, you're going to have to do things. You're going to have to throw things out there. You're going to have to do a podcast with no sponsor. You're going to have to put yourself out there. But don't spend all the money you have doing it. In fact, spend as little as possible doing it while doing a quality job. Because before you give it all up for the market, you need to make sure what you've got is what the market really wants. The Gift of the Magi by O. Henry. That's my take. I'm Magi Simmons, and this is the No Job Podcast. This podcast is brought to you by Grindstone. What is your grindstone? Are you a foodie? Are you a scholar? Are you an athlete? Are you a sports fan? What is your grindstone? What is it that you have to do? What is it that makes you feel alive? Whether it's the way you make a living or it's a hobby. The thing you go to sleep thinking about and wake up wanting to do is your grindstone. This podcast is brought to you by Grindstone. What is your grindstone? Final thoughts as we get ready to sign off. People who don't have jobs have to work harder than anybody else. But they also have more to gain than anyone else. They are manifesting their dreams in many cases. They're exercising their passion in many cases. They're living, in many cases, a fuller life than anyone else. But please believe, it's going to take everything I've got. It's going to take everything you've got to succeed in this area. We are in a unique environment called the United States of America where this is possible. So let's take advantage of the opportunity. And this is an opportunity. If having no job is a fantasy for you, get off this podcast. Why? Because a fantasy does more harm than good. A fantasy is taking away from the energy you need to invest in the life that you do have. But if this is motivation for you, if this is help for you, if this is an educational resource for you, if this is a tool for you, if this is a stone that you sharpen your axe on, then by all means, partake, eat, drink, and be merry. But having a fantasy is deadly to your reality. This isn't the Big Dreams podcast. This is the No Job podcast. And if you really want to get to that place, you are going to be a harder worker than probably almost anybody else that you know. And you've got to be somebody that believes that it's worth it. You've got to be somebody that gets sick when they think about just having a job. And by the way, guys, you can have a career. Careers are awesome. You could even have something that many would see as a job, but for you, it's a passion. In my opinion, you have no job. You're doing what you want to do. Somebody else is paying you to work for yourself. That's just fine. But if you want to strike out on your own, you only reach that unique position by having a uniquely powerful work ethic and a uniquely powerful why, a uniquely powerful source. So it's time to get to the nitty-gritty. Go do the work so you don't have to do the job. My name's Magi Simmons, and this is the No Job Podcast.